It's a pretty sobering statistic when you hear that something like 90% of solo businesses just stumble and fail within their first 5 years.
It really is. That's a tough reality for anyone pouring everything they have into building something from scratch.
Exactly. But what if those odds weren't quite so daunting? What if there was a clearer path, something actionable to not just survive, but to actually double your company's revenue and profit in, say, the next 3 years?
That's precisely the big, ambitious goal we're tackling today. We're diving deep into Double Double by Cameron Herold.
Ah, the 1-800-YAT-JANG guy, right?
Yeah.
COO during
Ah,
their massive growth phase.
the very same. He was right there in the trenches, saw that company explode. Think about it going from a local service to a name everyone knows. He's really seen what it takes.
And that's why we're digging in here for you, the learner. Our mission today is to pull out the most potent, the most real-world strategies from Harold's experience.
And not just his time at JID Janka, but also from coaching tons of other entrepreneurs who are aiming for that kind of serious growth.
So we'll be cutting through the theory, focusing on the practical steps, the surprising insights that you can actually use without burying you in, information overload.
Right. This isn't just abstract business school stuff. Harold's guidance comes straight from the experience of scaling up. I mean, 1-800-JOT Joe Anke went from $2 million to over $100 million in revenue in just 6 years while he was there. That's serious growth.
Wow, okay.
And he's seen these same principles work again and again across all sorts of different companies he's coached since then.
So yeah, forget the dusty textbooks. We're talking battle-tested advice here, strategies forged in the fire, really. It's about understanding the groundwork you need to lay first, and then those focused, deliberate actions that build a truly thriving business. Okay, let's unpack this.
So the very first thing Harold hammers home is the sheer power of having a really compelling vision. He introduces this concept called the painted picture.
Okay, painted picture, what is that exactly?
It's basically a document, maybe 3 or 4 pages, that vividly describes your company exactly as you want it to be 3 years from now, operating at double its current size.
Sounds simple enough on the surface.
Well, yes and no. It sounds straightforward, but it actually demands a very specific way of thinking. It's harder than it sounds to do it right.
How so?
Herold really emphasizes you need to step away from the day-to-day chaos to really envision this future state properly.
Right, get out of the office rut.
Exactly. He suggests finding an environment that sparks different thinking. Maybe it's the ocean, a forest, the mountains, anywhere that pulls you out of your normal routine and those ingrained thought patterns.
And the crucial part
Yeah.
for you, the learner, is that initial focus, right? It's the what, not the how.
Precisely. Harold stresses that when you're doing this envisioning, you have to temporarily shelve your current metrics, your immediate to-do list, and that constant nagging question of how you're actually going to pull this off.
Yeah.
This exercise is all about freeing your mind to just paint that vivid picture of the future reality you want. No constraints initially.
And he shares his own examples, doesn't he?
He does. He gives glimpses into his own painted picture, things like envisioning himself speaking at international events, running impactful webinars, coaching really driven entrepreneurs.
He even mentions a specific brand feel he wanted, right? Like
Yeah.
a Robert Graham feel.
Yeah, exactly. Attracting high-end sponsors, having clients who truly value his specific contribution, it gets quite detailed.
And the 1-800-GOT, J-O-N Jiske examples are pretty powerful too.
Oh, absolutely. Their team literally visualized being the subject of a Harvard Business School case study. They wrote it on their Can You Imagine wall in the office.
And it happened.
It actually happened, which is incredible. Another one was their marketing manager visualizing the company's name on Starbucks cups. Seemed audacious at the time.
But that happened too. It really speaks to that idea of what you conceive and believe you can achieve.
Exactly. Harold really believes in that power of intentional thought. By clearly picturing these big goals, maybe slightly crazy goals, and truly believing they were possible, they took that critical first step.
So it's not just a one and done exercise then. You create the picture, and then what?
No, absolutely not. He underscores how critical it is to revisit it regularly, actively align your day-to-day decisions with that future vision.
Makes sense. Keep it top of mind.
And even more than that, he suggests all your employees, maybe even key suppliers, should reread that painted picture every single quarter.
Well, every quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To ensure everyone's not just aware of the long-term direction, but is consistently rowing in that same direction. Shared objective.
Okay, so you've painted this incredibly clear, compelling picture of the future. But how do you actually start building the bridge from where you are now to that future?
Right, that's where the next key concept comes in, reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering. Okay, break that down.
In this context, it's about systematically aligning your daily tasks, your operations, all those processes with the big objectives you laid out in that painted picture.
So working backwards from the goal.
Exactly. Think about building a custom house. You start with the blueprint that's your painted picture. Then every single step, from digging the foundation to picking the paint colors, it's all done with that final blueprint in mind.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're not just reacting to things day to day. You're consciously building towards that defined future.
Precisely. Now, Herold does add a small word of caution here. He advises against getting too bogged down in super detailed reverse engineering beyond, say, the next year or so.
Why is that? Too many unknowns.
Exactly. Too many variables can change further out. So for that more immediate time frame, he brings in the SMART goals framework.
Ah, SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based. Classic.
Yep. And he highlights 4 standard goals he thinks basically every company should be tracking.
Which are?
Revenue, profit, customer service, and employee satisfaction.
Okay, the big ones.
For revenue, he actually suggests aiming for a consistent 25% year-over-year increase for the next 3 years as a good target for doubling.
Ambitious but clear.
For profit, he stresses that employees really need to understand the company's profit goals. It helps guide their everyday decisions, makes them think like owners.
And customer service and employee satisfaction. How do you make those smart?
The key is tying them to measurable outcomes. He's a big fan of the Net Promoter Score, NPS, for both.
Right, NPS. How likely people are to recommend you. Good metric.
Exactly. Whether your target is an NPS of 40, 50, 60% for customers or employees, the point is to have a clear, measurable benchmark.
So you start with maybe 4 or 5 main goals.
Right. And then you break those down systematically into sub-goals that different teams or individuals can actually own and work towards.
He also talks about ROI, return on investment, doesn't he? Making sure your initiatives actually pay off.
Oh, absolutely crucial. He gives a really practical example using social media marketing. He basically walks through the math. If you're spending, say, $450 a week on social media, you need to know exactly how much new revenue you need to generate just to break even on that cost, let alone make a profit.
That kind of basic financial thinking is so important, but often overlooked, I think.
Totally. It's fundamental for deciding where to put your limited resources,
And then, to keep everything moving, you need milestones.
Right. Milestones are just breaking down those bigger projects into smaller, manageable tasks, each with a clear deadline. Makes it much easier to track progress, spot problems early.
So with all this planning and goal setting, what's leadership's main job in making it all stick?
Herold's very clear. Leadership's role is to align, support, and enable the teams. It's not just about chasing deadlines and accountability.
More about creating the right environment.
Exactly. Giving clarity on the goals, making sure they have the resources, offering encouragement, proactive support.
Okay, solid foundation, vision, roadmap. But what about the actual place where all this growth happens?
Yeah.
That brings us to building the right company, culture, as he calls it.
Yes. Creating a world-class workspace is fundamental for him. One of his maybe more controversial points is getting rid of private offices.
Really? Why?
He shares the example of the Junction, their office, at 1-800 Jerry Joe J. Junk. Moving everyone into open, collaborative spaces drastically improved communication and built a stronger shared culture. He argues private offices can breed politics and silos between departments.
Interesting. And making the space itself reflect the culture.
Yeah, injecting personality. See the physical plant as a blank canvas. Use it to lift the mood, show who you are. He mentions their blue sky room, or rethink having a boardroom with a ping pong table. Little things that make a statement.
So branding the space itself.
Definitely. Naming meeting rooms creatively, using walls for the vision, those, can you imagine? Walls, again, displaying core values everywhere. Constant reminders of what you stand for and where you're going.
But it's obviously not just about cool furniture, right? The day-to-day vibe has to be authentic.
Absolutely. Herold emphasizes the culture needs to genuinely match the CEO's personality and what the team actually wants. His example is, Friday afternoon, drinks perfect for one company, totally wrong for another. It has to be real.
Like the first day dress code example at I Love Rewards. Fun, less stuffy.
Exactly. It shows a specific personality, and underpinning all of it is the absolute need for open, honest, transparent communication. Always.
So beyond the physical space, what are some specific ways he suggests nurturing that social environment?
One key thing is proactively building stronger team connections, just encouraging people to hang out even with colleagues they might not naturally click with.
Like his dinner party analogy, making sure everyone feels included.
Precisely. Another, maybe surprising one, is giving more vacation time.
More vacation. How does that help growth?
He argues it can actually lower attrition and boost productivity right before people go away. And importantly, he stresses it should be the same amount for everyone, regardless of level, and you need to educate people on how to actually take and use it properly.
That's interesting. And using culture for PR.
Yeah, he points out that a strong, unique culture is amazing free press. 1-800-JOC. I love rewards. They got media coverage because of their unique culture. And that, in turn, attracts the right kind of job applicants who resonate with that vibe.
What about helping employees personally?
That's a big one for him and really insightful for you, the learner. He suggests actively helping employees achieve their personal goals, find out their dreams, maybe using those 101 dream goals lists he talks about.
And then actually help them.
Yeah, even in small ways. He tells a great story about helping employees tackle student debt. Those kinds of genuine gestures build incredible loyalty and connection.
And sharing financials. That seems bold.
It does, but he argues it builds massive trust and encourages that ownership mentality. He tells a story about a GOTJ employee who, after seeing the financials, proactively found ways to save money on stuff like bottled water and office supplies.
Because they understood the impact.
Exactly. They started thinking like an owner. Finally, he talks about the leader's role in boosting the team's energy level and being really mindful of things that drain energy. Authenticity is key. And all this ties into having better meetings, which he gets into later.
Okay, vision, roadmap, culture, check. Now, part 2. Focused actions for fast growth. Starting with arguably the most critical piece, focused hiring.
Absolute critical. Herold kicks this off with a great quote from Larry Bossidy. Nothing we do is more important than hiring and developing people. You bet on people, not on strategies.
So true.
He uses a sports team analogy. You constantly need to upgrade the team right. Be willing to let go of players who aren't the right fit and actively recruit those who raise the team's average.
Yeah, that duck hunting story too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As a recruiting lesson.
Yeah, it's a fantastic analogy. His grandfather knew exactly what kind of ducks they were looking for before they even went out.
So know what you want before you start looking for candidates.
Precisely. And don't settle for what he calls fish ducks. You know, average employees who don't really have the specific skills or attitude you need. Avoid settling.
And this applies to every single hire, right? Frontline to back office.
Every single one. They should all have the potential to exceed expectations in their role, both personality and skills. Then he gets practical about forecasting hiring needs. He shares this eye-opening example. A preschool needing 12 new teachers realized they'd likely need to process something like 522 applications to get those 12 hires.
522, that's staggering. Really highlights the effort involved.
It does, and it underscores why you need a dedicated point person managing recruitment with clear deadlines for every step.
And finding those real superstars, the A players.
He insists they are out there, but often they're already working, maybe for less exciting companies. The key is attracting those already employed high performers.
Because A players attract other A players.
Exactly. And you absolutely cannot afford to settle for B players no matter how urgent things feel. It dilutes the talent pool.
Okay, so how do you identify these A players in the interview process? He talks about group interviews.
Yeah, he's a big fan. Says they're efficient and great for seeing cultural fit in action. He shares sample questions, proudest accomplishment, biggest failure in learning, how they manage their time.
And he sometimes excuses people mid-interview. That sounds intense.
He does. To show they're serious about finding the right fit and respect everyone's time, it sends a message.
Now, the attitude versus skills debate. Which comes first?
This is crucial for you, the learner. Herold says you need both. A great attitude can't make up for a lack of core skills, especially when you're growing fast and need people to contribute quickly.
So, attract skilled people first.
Attract the skilled candidates first, then use the interview, especially the group interview, to really assess attitude and cultural fit and his target. Aim for 200 resumes per open position.
200? Wow. That's a high bar.
It shows the level of effort required to find true A players. He also shares those funny but telling anecdotes.
The time management expert who couldn't give examples.
Right. Or the bring me your PDA test that exposed someone who talked the talk but didn't walk the walk on organization. You have to test for practical application, not just listen to answers.
So for the one-on-one interviews, preparation is key.
Absolutely. Review the resume, check their LinkedIn profile, be prepared during the interview. Listen more than talk. Use pauses effectively. Take good notes. Ask those critical dinner party test questions. Would you actually want to hang out with this person?
That's a good gut check. What about reverse selling?
Yeah, that's interesting. Intentionally highlighting the challenges of the job to gauge their reaction and resilience. Also, directly addressing any weaknesses you see to assess how they handle constructive feedback.
And finally, rate them honestly.
Yeah.
Avoid overrating someone just because you like them.
Exactly. Stick to the criteria. And then there's the flip side of firing.
The tough part.
Yeah. He shares a powerful story about a mentor pushing him to finally let go of someone who just wasn't the right fit, highlighting the huge hidden cost of keeping the wrong people on the team morale drain, lost productivity.
So be decisive. Set a date and time.
Yes. And always treat the departing employee with respect throughout the process. It's a crucial reminder. Building a great team is as much about subtraction as it is about addition.
Okay, right people on the bus.
Well.
Check. Next, focused action.
Yeah.
Communication. Seems obvious, but often done poorly.
So true. Herold starts with a fundamental point. The key is listening to understand, not just waiting for your turn to talk or prove you're right.
2 ears, 1 mouth. Right. Use them proportionally.
Exactly. And Covey's seek first to understand. He emphasizes active listening, maybe summarizing what you heard back to the speaker, to confirm understanding.
That's a good technique. Prevents misinterpretation.
He also advises taking 24 hours to respond to important stuff when possible. Avoid knee-jerk reactions, and resist that urge to immediately shut down ideas you don't initially like. That kills future openness.
He brings up open offices again here, doesn't he? For communication flow.
Yeah, reinforcing how they help information flow naturally, plus advocating for a genuine open-door policy at all levels. Transparency. Information should flow top-down, bottom-up, and peer-to-peer.
And the daily huddle comes up again, too.
As a really powerful tool for quick, consistent communication. He'll detail that more later.
What about conflict? Any specific techniques?
He shares one called the I need technique. Simple framework. State your feelings, describe the specific future behavior you'd prefer, and then ask for their feelings and perspective.
Focuses on solutions, not blame. I like that.
Exactly. And then there's managing digital communication overload.
Oh, yeah. Email.
Minimize it. Batch processing emails maybe once or twice a day. Use weekly meetings for updates instead of endless email chains.
Good advice. What about IM and video?
Instant messaging can be useful, especially for quick side chats during calls. And video chat. Huge for strengthening relationships, especially with remote teams. Plus, it's often free.
And newer stuff like Facebook, Twitter.
Embrace them strategically, he says, especially for reaching Gen Y customers and recruits. But don't get sucked into the time-wasting aspects. Use them with purpose.
Okay, communication flows into the next logical topic. Focused meetings, the bane of many people's existence.
Exactly. Herold says your meetings are a direct reflection of your company culture. If you want an energetic culture, you need focused, energetic meetings, not soul-crushing ones.
So how do you make them better? Starting on time seems basic, but
crucial. It signals respect for everyone's time and broader company discipline. Also, end 5 minutes early so people can transition smoothly.
and cut meeting times in half. Is that realistic?
He argues it often is. Parkinson's law, work expands to fill the time available. Shorter meetings force focus.
How do you make sure everyone contributes, not just the loudest voices?
Actively engage quieter people. Have leaders share opinions last. Use techniques like brainstorming with sticky notes so everyone gets ideas out there before discussion.
And assigning a chair for every meeting.
Absolutely essential. Someone whose job it is to manage the agenda, keep discussion on track, and ensure you finish on time. Accountability. He then outlines specific meeting types he finds effective. Quarterly Board of Advisors meetings.
Right, for high-level strategy and vision review.
Then quarterly business area reviews, deeper dives into departmental metrics, great for building financial literacy across the team too, maybe discuss profit sharing.
And war meetings. What's that?
Weekly meetings stands for, what are our rocks? Actions. Roadblocks. They're quick problem-solving sessions. Update key priorities, rocks, actions taken, and crucially identify roadblocks so the team can help unstick things. Prevents silos.
GSNR, another acronym.
Goals, strategies, and review. These are typically weekly one-on-ones between managers and direct reports. Focuses on direction, development, support, not just task follow-up.
So more coaching than reporting.
Exactly. Start with a quick head check. How's the person feeling? Follow up on goals, agree on next week's priorities, saves time by consolidating questions.
And finally, the huddle, the famous daily stand-up.
Yeah, the daily huddle. 7 minutes, standing up, quick hits. Good news, key numbers, where people are stuck or priorities, any missing systems or frustrations, usually ends with someone saying, I'll take it to solve a problem.
Keeps momentum going daily.
Usually impactful. Some teams even do a super fast 3-minute adrenaline meeting right before the huddle for individual task updates. Structure keeps communication flowing.
All right, let's shift gears to another critical growth engine. Focused marketing. Not just doing stuff, but doing the right stuff.
Precisely. Herold quotes Henry Ford. A market is never saturated with a good product, but it is very quickly saturated with a bad one. Focus is paramount. All marketing should stem directly from the goals in your painted picture.
And he emphasizes simple, often cheap solutions, right?
Yeah, lots of practical, budget-friendly ideas to stay top of mind. Focus on the right audience with the right message, and only invest in marketing you genuinely know or have strong reason to believe will actually work. No throwing spaghetti at the wall.
What about bartering?
He's a big fan. Trading your services for advertising space in magazines, newspapers, websites. Lots of media outlets have unsold inventory they might be willing to trade. Win-win.
And bootstrapping materials, using online resources.
Definitely. Things like CrowdSpring for design, freelance sites like Guru or Elance for affordable help. He shares creative bartering stories too, like trading junk removal for actors for a video shoot.
Resourceful. And handwritten thank you notes, still relevant.
He swears by them. Powerful, memorable, personal touch in a digital world. Builds real connection. Then there's Campy, his kick-ass marketing program.
What was that about?
Basically, providing franchisees with a simple daily list of focused marketing tasks proved that consistent daily action often beats fancy, expensive campaigns. Focus over flash.
And public relations, PR. He sees it as a sales function.
Absolutely. He argues you should aim to double your positive PR exposure if you want to double your company size. It directly drives awareness and credibility.
His perspective on dealing with the media is interesting, too. Like, you're doing them a favor.
Yeah, a bit counterintuitive, but his point is they need good content to sell ads and attract readers. You're providing valuable stories. Focus PR efforts on outlets your target clients actually read or that reach your ideal audience and culture fit.
So mapping the strategy means identifying outlets and the people.
Crucially, yes.
Yeah.
Focus on the individual editors, writers, bloggers who produce the stories. Build relationships with them. Use free tools like Atriogreo, help a reporter out. Treat freelancers well. They can become great long-term contacts. Consider PR in a box resources if doing it in-house. And don't obsess over tracking every mention. Focus on actively pitching good stories.
And the pitch itself needs a clear angle.
Gotta know your angle. What's the story idea? Why should this specific writer care? And follow-up is vital. Emails and, yes, those handwritten thank yous again. When building a PR team, look for people who understand writers, are optimistic, sound great on the phone, are super organized, and stay current on media trends. He even gives rough estimates for a PR funnel, maybe 1 story a month at first, growing to 3-4. Focus on quality stories landed, not just vanity metrics.
Okay, you're marketing, getting PR. How do you know it's working? Leads right into focused measurement.
Exactly. Can't manage what you don't measure. Herold's approach is direct. Assign 2-3 key metrics per person. Make it crystal clear their performance is tied to those numbers. Accountability.
How often should you review these metrics?
He strongly recommends weekly review for key growth drivers, calls it the weekly RAG. Red, amber, green. Crucial for staying on track to double revenue profit. Adjust frequency based on the specific data, but weekly is a good default for the big stuff.
And where does all this data live? Spreadsheets everywhere.
Ideally, no. Live on a company intranet or web app, accessible to everyone. Finance compiles, business areas update. Individual dashboards should roll up to a company overview. Transparency.
And the core reason why measure.
Because you can't manage what you don't measure. Simple as that. It clarifies facts versus feelings, makes things objective. He shares a story from GOTJONT where lacking hard data potentially cost them a big opportunity because he couldn't convince leadership based on gut feeling alone. Data drives informed decisions.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You need the numbers to back up instincts and drive action. Okay, next lever. Focused technology.
Yeah, and the great news here is that so much powerful tech is free or cheap now compared to the past. He urges companies to constantly look for ways tech can cut costs and drive growth. Even simple stuff like canceling print newspaper subscriptions and reading online for free.
He likes those little tech hacks, right?
Yeah.
Learn one a week.
Exactly. Keep it simple. Focus on practical shortcuts that save time daily. His specific recommendations are interesting. Laptops for everyone, mobility, consistency, and 3 monitors on every desk.
3 monitors. Seriously.
Seriously. He argues it massively boosts productivity by cutting down time wasted switching windows, less clicking, more doing. Also, PDAs, smartphones for cinching info but turn off notifications. Wireless headsets for multitasking convenience.
What about social media and blogging from a tech perspective?
Use social media strategically for business profiles as resumes, networking, customer service. Follow people like him, at Cameron Herold was his handle, for tips. But avoid the time sinks. Blogging. Only if you're a true thought leader and can commit to regular, short, keyword-rich posts. And if you sell offline, definitely sell online too. He tells the Herman Miller Aaron Chair story, investing in good equipment pays off in employee comfort and productivity. Also, using virtual assistants, VAs, for remote tasks like research is cost-effective. And the Zara example...
How they use tech for faster checkout.
Yeah, faster checkout, more efficient staff, created buzz, hire tech-savvy younger people, or leverage existing employees. Maybe reverse mentoring junior staff, teach tech, seniors teach business. He lists specific tools too. Dragon for dictation, TweetDeck, CardSnap, Bump, Automator. Lots of practical stuff.
Okay, but what if the economy tanks? How do you grow when things are slow? He covers recessions, right?
Oh, yeah. He starts with that great Jack Welch quote. Never miss out on an opportunity like a good recession. His first piece of advice, just stop people IT.
Stop what?
Stop complaining about the economy. Stop making excuses. Dwelling on the negative hinders positive thinking and distracts you from finding growth opportunities that are still there. Play the stop IT game mentally.
Okay, mindset shift first. Then what? His top 10 ways.
Right. Divided into counterintuitive tips and tried and true ideas. The counterintuitive ones are fascinating.
Like, increase expenses. That sounds crazy in a recession.
Right. But he means strategically. Hire great salespeople competitors just laid off. Maybe give performance-based raises to incentivize new business, even for non-sales roles. Second, increase marketing when others cut back. Maintain or boost visibility. Think public storage, huge potential when others pull back.
Okay, what else? Increase training.
Yep. Invest of your people while competitors worry. Increase client contact, deepen relationships, find new needs, increase community involvement, build goodwill and visibility, and generally be contrarian, do the opposite of the herd.
And the more boring but essential ideas.
Focus intensely on current clients, easier to sell more to them. Actively ask for referrals. Use guerrilla marketing, low-cost, high-impact creative tactics. Think outside the box. Don't play it safe.
Like the grasshoppers example.
Exactly. Memorable. And finally, the crucial one. Watch your cash flow like a hawk. Cut non-essential costs, but not marketing advertising. Collect CO, encourage prepayments, manage payables smartly, and through it all, maintain a positive, resilient spirit.
That chapter really reframes a downturn as an opportunity, not just a threat. Very useful.
Absolutely. It's a crucial mindset shift.
So we've covered planning, actions. Now let's focus on the leader themselves. Part 3. Focus leadership. Starting with the emotional side, the entrepreneurial roller coaster.
Yeah, this is important stuff. He quotes Mark Andreessen. A startup puts you on an emotional roller coaster unlike anything you have ever experienced. It acknowledges the real emotional journey.
And he breaks it down into stages, right? The transition curve.
5 stages. Stage 1, uninformed optimism. That initial excitement, honeymoon phase, maybe a bit naive.
We've all been there. Stage 2.
Informed pessimism, the oh crap moment when reality bites. Nerves kick in. This is crucial planning and budgeting time, he says. Maybe lay low with the media.
Stage 3 sounds tough. Crisis of meaning.
Yeah, fear, doubt, hard to get out of bed. Communication and seeking support are vital here. Don't isolate yourself.
Stage 4. Valley of despair. Rock bottom.
Potentially. Bankruptcy, forced sale, failure looms, needs massive effort, tenacity. Franchises often fare better here due to support systems. Recognize the feelings, get support. Remember, fall 7 times, stand up 8.
And hopefully, stage 5, informed optimism.
The goal, calm, cautious optimism, grounded confidence. But, he warns, it's usually temporary. The cycle can repeat. He outlines what to do and avoid at each stage.
He also asks that hard crash and burn question.
Right. Do you really have the bandwidth, people, time, resources to push through, or are you just hitting your head against a wall? Sometimes pivoting or stopping is the right call. But experience builds competence and confidence over time.
Understanding that emotional landscape is key for leaders, and their teams too. Okay, after emotions, the power of focus.
Absolutely critical. Getting the right things done. He quotes Tom Peters' Maniac with a Mission and his mentor Greg Clark, leadership is saying no. saying no to distractions.
And he introduces the Ivy Lee method for prioritizing. How does that work again?
It's beautifully simple. End of each day, list the 6 most important things for tomorrow.
Just 6.
Just 6. Then order them by importance. Most important is #1.
Okay.
Next day, start with #1. Work only on #1 till it's done or you've gone as far as you can. Then move to #2 and so on.
Don't jump around.
Nope. Finish one before starting the next as much as possible. Unfinished tasks get moved to tomorrow's list. Spend the last 5 minutes of today making tomorrow's list.
Keeps you focused on important, not just urgent.
Exactly. He mentions Teamly.com as a tool and acknowledges you sometimes need to modify an urgent A priority might bump a B priority. Plan your work and work your plan. Tell someone your goals for accountability. Review often. Analyze your performance, how long things took, was it worth it?
And finding your unique ability. Dan Sullivan's concept.
Right. Focus on tasks you rate E, excellent, or unique ability, things you love, are great at, and get results from, especially those that pay the highest. Delegate or eliminate the C, competent, and I, incompetent, dislike tasks, and the lowest paying ones. Maximize your high-value time.
Practical focus tips, like managing email.
Get out of email. Check it maybe once or twice a day, like at 4 p.m. Keep your daily, weekly lists, visible whiteboard, sticky zap, whatever works, constant reminder.
Simple, powerful ways to stay on track. Okay, another huge part of focused leadership, getting outside advice. You can't do it all alone as a vacuum.
So true. You absolutely need external perspectives. He strongly recommends a board of advisors.
Different from a board of directors, right? They advise don't fire the CEO.
Exactly. Their purpose is to help the CEO. Can be internal or external members. Ideally, company builders, entrepreneurs who've been there, not just lawyers, accountants whose advice might be too risk-averse. Focus should be future vision, cash flow, growth challenges.
How do you prepare them effectively?
Regular prep package. Financials, key decisions, the painted picture, facts and feelings, important. Specifics, absolute truth about stressors. Trust is paramount for them to give good advice.
And running the meetings.
4 or 6 times a year, 3-4 hours each. Focus on discussion, not just repeating the prep pack. Constructive challenges. Review financials with fresh eyes. Get input beyond their specialty. And crucially, follow through. If you don't act on advice, they'll stop caring.
Makes sense. What about other sources of advice?
Entrepreneurs Organization, EO, gets a big mention, huge learning experience. Coaches and mentors, almost all top leaders have them. They help with strategies, scalable systems. He says you'll wonder how you survived without one.
And ad hoc mentors.
Yeah, build a personal list of sharp people you meet. Note their strengths. Reach out for specific advice when needed. You don't need a formal board for yourself necessarily. These outside advisors help with business growth and quality of life.
Which leads perfectly into the final piece. Work-life balance.
Yeah.
So crucial, so hard sometimes.
Indeed. Mens sana in corpore sano. Healthy mind, healthy body. He offers 10 practical tips.
Let's hear a few.
Schedule playtime like it's a meeting. Build a support network. Actually do things on your bucket list. Take real disconnected vacations. Hire a great assistant.
Yes to the assistant. And email habits.
Don't check it first thing or constantly. Look back and acknowledge, progress the rearview mirror check. Be present wherever you are. Focus on outcomes, not just hours. Productive people often work fewer, more focused hours. And hire people who play athletes. Team players often have great work ethic.
Here's tips from others too, right? Like integration over balance.
Yeah, maybe it's about integration. Paint a family painted picture. Realize most email squalls aren't truly urgent. Learn from how women often approach balance, and then he shares a ton of his own personal learnings. Really valuable stuff.
Like what? Give us a couple of highlights.
Slow down, don't react impulsively, set boundaries, don't take things personally, listen actively, lead by example, do as I say, be conscious of your thoughts, focus on outcomes, but know when process matters, stay positive, recharge, stop doing, start leading, delegate, teach, communicate relentlessly, ensure clear roles, define the right thing, don't micromanage, make decisions, look for what's missing, cut the happy talk, titles matter, use CCBCC wisely, everything gets back, control emotions, don't take yourself too seriously.
Wow, that's a lifetime of learning right there.
Yeah.
So wrapping up, what are the absolute core keys to doubling?
He boils it down based on his experience at GOTJ on Boyd Auto Body, etc. The consistent keys are
1. Crystal clear vision shared with everyone.
2. Right people on the bus focused hiring.
3. Accountability and performance measurement.
4. Strong company culture.
5. Effective communication.
6. Focused marketing and PR.
7. Leveraging technology smartly.
8. Getting outside advice.
And 9, work-life balance for sustainable leadership.
Exactly. He ends by saying doubling is achievable. It takes focus, the right strategies, and determination.
Okay, so to quickly summarize our whole deep dive into double-double for you, the learner, it starts with that compelling vision, that painted picture.
Then you reverse engineer your goals, aligning daily actions with that vision.
Build that strong culture through people, communication, the right environment. Absolutely critical.
And constantly leverage measurement and technology to track progress and drive efficiency.
And don't forget the power of outside advice and maintaining your own balance as a leader.
Crucial for the long haul.
So as you think about all these focus strategies, maybe consider which one could make the biggest immediate difference for you right now. What's the first actionable step you'll take after hearing all this? Something to really mull over.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this deep dive into Cameron Herold's Double-Double. We really hope it's given you some practical, actionable insights for driving serious growth in your own ventures.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage you to look at your own business, your own challenges and goals through this lens. Maybe now's the perfect time to sit down and start sketching out your own painted picture. Until our next deep dive, keep focusing on what truly matters for you in your vision.